to Jonathan Taylor. Huge hole. He's at the 30. He's going to go. 10, 5, touchdown. Jonathan Taylor made a man miss the line of scrimmage and then runs it into Pater for a one-handed INT. Are you kidding me? Kenny Moore.
What a play by Nyheim Hines.
Horseshoe is back, baby. The horseshoe is back.
What's going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Bring the Juice Colts podcast. We're going to continue with our offensive free agents and whether or not they should be re-signed or not. And today, it's going to be a very controversial one, and it's been one of the bigger talked about names on the Colts. And I'm telling you right now, Jacob Eason stands. You guys will like this episode. I'm just letting you know. Just wait till the very end, okay? Because Cody and I are going to bring up some good points. But anyway, we're going to talk about quarterback Jacoby Brissett, guys. So as always, we like to start with the positives here on why we think the Colts should re-sign said player. And Cody and I both agree, and I think most people agree, this is the main reason why you would bring Jacoby Brissett back. And that is that he's a great leader and he's the team captain when it comes to the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, when you think of the Indianapolis Colts locker room and you think of the guys who are outspoken, the guys who are leaders and they let it be known, it's Jacoby Brissett. You know, the guy runs down to the touchdown every time the Colts score to celebrate with his teammates. You know, he gets loud, he gets hyped on the sidelines. He's that guy, right? Every team has one of those guys and they love him. I mean, this guy was the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee for the Indianapolis Colts. So if it shows you anything at all of what this guy represents for Indianapolis, not just in the locker room, but for the Indianapolis community, I mean, there's none better than Jacoby Brissett to be a man amongst boys and, you know, being that leader and that voice in the locker room that really brings people together. I mean, that makes total sense on why you would want to bring Brissett back for that reason. Now, Cody, what's the second reason why Jacoby Brissett might get brought back?
Yeah, I think it simply is he's a guy that's very experienced in this system, right? If you recall, he's been with the Colts even before Frank Reich was the coach. He got traded for, you remember that trade? The Colts traded Philip Dorsett for Jacoby Brissett, and he played that whole 2017 season in a different system for sure, but he's been in Frank Reich's system ever since he's been in Indianapolis. So I think for that reason, it's like you just got an experienced guy at quarterback there that has played some snaps for you, right? And knows kind of how this offense is run. And, you know, Carson Wentz knows this offense probably pretty well as well because he was with Frank Reich. But, you know, just having another guy that is experienced in the system, I think that could be a reason why the Colts elect to bring Jacoby Brissett back because of that reason. Yep,
and you're right. It would be for pretty cheap as well. I mean, there's no way we're paying him. There's no way we're paying him $30 million again for 2 years. That's just not going to happen.
For sure.
And the last positive that you could think of here, which can turn out to be a negative, is situational football. Saw from last year, Phillip Rivers in short yardage situations really didn't have a lot of ability to, you know, have the quarterback sneak or be able to run or mix things up. I don't know, it's third and shorts, fourth and shorts. So that's why Jacoby Brissett was brought in for that situational type of reason, you know, getting those few extra yards, and it helps keep that drive moving. That's what Jacoby Brissett was very fond of, and that's what the Colts really like to use him for. But Cody, give us the reason why you think that could be a negative, because, you know, situational football, it's good in certain situations, but you know, with Wentz now being on the Colts, why would that be why situationally would that be a bad thing?
Well, you know, I think for a couple of reasons here. Well, first off, Phillip Rivers, we knew he was never going to sneak it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and with Carson Wentz, he's the type of quarterback that now you could sneak it. And I think for that reason, there's really not I guess my first point here is like, where does he get used now? You know what I mean? Like, what is the point of having him on the roster if you have a quarterback who can sneak it and still a pretty big quarterback himself? I mean, Carson Wentz over 230 pounds, about 6'5". So, like, he's a big guy as well. And, you know, and that's kind of like, well, what would the role be for Jacoby Brissett now? You know, we knew what it was with Phillip Rivers, And also that leads to like my other part of this point is the fact that now with Carson Wentz, your offense is a lot more unpredictable, right? Because Carson Wentz isn't going to go out whenever it's like 4th and short or 3rd and short. He can just quarterback sneak it because he's that type of quarterback. He's that type of athlete. Phillip Rivers wasn't. I mean, he was pushing 40 for a reason. Carson Wentz is not even 30 years old yet. So for those reasons, I think that's why, for my first point, where does Brissett get used? Because he's not going to probably be used as good as he was in situational football. He's not going to get used in that way because of how the Colts are going to use Carson Wentz in those short yardage situations, and their offense will be a lot more unpredictable. So, yeah, that's my first point. How does he get used, and when does he get used?
Probably would end up only being in the red zone, and that would probably just be a short few amount of time. So it really wouldn't, I don't know how much you use it.
Hey, what's up, guys? I want to take a pause from the video to talk about our sponsor for this video, Manscaped. Now, Manscaped is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineering tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million worldwide. And we have an exclusive offer for you, our listeners. 20% off plus free shipping with the code BTJ at manscaped.com. I'll say it again with code BTJ at manscaped.com. And Derek, Manscaped hooked both you and I up with some pretty cool tools, right? I know you have one there. I have a couple here to keep it fresh down there. But Derek, I can't tell you, man, how many times, you've been down there, you've been shaving, you're trying to figure that stuff out. And
it's the worst.
It's the worst, man. It is. And Manscaped definitely is a great resource there to help you have confidence moving forward, man, and doing that. I know it's never fun, but Manscaped makes it a little bit more bearable.
Well, thankfully, Cody, I've not had any issues when it comes to that yet, thanks to Manscaped. And the best thing that I've had with that was the Lawnmower 3.0. It's the new device that helps you. It's the 3rd generation trimmer featuring a cutting ceramic blade that helps to keep you from having accidents down there. The best thing for your grooming experience. It also comes with an LED light, helps you to make sure you see where you're going. Obviously, you need that. And it's also waterproof. I don't have any water on me right now, but I would definitely show you. Helps with your shower and grooming experience. Makes it so much easier. Obviously, don't use it on your face. That's just nasty. I'm just letting y'all know that now.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Also, guys, with your package that you would also get comes with a lot of other things that you would need to help with your grooming experience. You have Preserver and Reviver to help with the family jewels to make sure everything is fresh. And also, Manscaped throws in a bunch of other things, including boxer briefs and a travel to-go bag to be able to bring your stuff on the road with you. Believe me, your balls will thank you. Cody, tell them how they can get started with their Manscaped experience.
Absolutely. So 20% off and free shipping using the code BTJ, stands for Bring the Juice, BTJ at manscaped.com. Again, that's 20% off shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code BTJ. Unlock your confidence and always have the right tools with Manscaped.
Thank you to all of you, including Manscaped, for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check them out, guys, and enjoy the video. And then the next point here is how much we are going to actually pay him, right? I mean,
yeah.
I don't think the issue is what the Colts want to pay him. I don't think that's the issue, but ultimately, Ballard is playing the mind game of everyone. You know how about a month ago when Ballard was at his presser saying that, oh, yeah, Brissett's name is in there. We don't want to just give up on the idea of Jacoby Brissett being the guy, right? I mean, he's been around. He's playing a mind game, folks. He's playing it to perfection. He's playing all of the fans because people aren't looking inside the comments. He's trying to make it so that other teams seem interested in Jacoby Brissett. If you tell people that Jacoby Brissett is within the mix and is going to have time where he's going to be used, then teams might look to Jacoby Brissett and say, hey, if we need a backup quarterback or if you want to come in and try to start, let's bring Jacoby Brissett in, right? Mm-hmm. It's to help Jacoby Brissett with his value versus his value with the Indianapolis Colts. I think that's something that we're often missing. Now, the last negative point, and situational football kind of ties into this as well, on how much would he be used, it's almost to the point now, Cody, a certain guy in the quarterback room that a lot of people have been talking about, and we know a lot of people who watch this podcast are big fans of him. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody why we think that certain guy could come into play here if Jacoby Brissett shouldn't be re-signed?
All right, here we go.
He's getting ready for y'all, folks. Okay, he's getting ready.
It's Jacob Eason season, baby. It's Jacob Eason season. That's why. If you brought back Jacoby Brissett, how much would that hurt Jacob Eason's development as a quarterback? Right?
Right.
I mean, like similar to like when people have, when Ballard was talking about, sorry, Mike, hang on a second. I'm just going to throw that off. But anyway, so you know how Ballard was kind of talking about, going back to your point about Jacoby Brissett and like how he's still in the mix. When he was asked about Jacob Eason, he just said, we don't know. I mean, I think that's fair, but I think that's not just saying we don't think he has talent. They do think he has talent. Obviously, they took him in the 4th round. And so, like, I think a lot of it will depend on obviously how he looks in the preseason, and that's going to be big. But, I think regardless of it, the Colts are going to probably roll with Jacob Eason as their backup, right? They see the talent.
They should.
There. Some people even said he was a 1st-round pick. He would have been a 1st-round pick if he would have stayed in school, a lot of people said. Yeah. So, like, as much as we've said, no, we don't want him as our starter, as a backup, as he continues to develop and learn, I'm totally good with that. That's where I think he should be. And I think that's where Ballard and Reich's mind is right now with Jacob Eason. It doesn't make much sense to throw a guy out there who doesn't have a whole lot of experience, in college. We've talked about that, right? Who didn't have any preseason action. And now this season, hopefully, fingers crossed, he's going to have preseason action. You're going to see the type of quarterback. It's going to help so much with deciding, regardless of how Carson Wentz plays, it's going to help a lot deciding if he's the guy or not. Right?
Yeah. And it helps too, because if something were to happen to Wentz, because everybody has that question, right? How durable is Carson Wentz? And is Carson Wentz even going to play well enough in the next 2 years to even warrant to continue to be brought back? Right. And the ultimate question is, if either one of those questions don't get answered, you can rely on Jacob Eason to then come in, because you gave him the year's worth of the time, the energy, and the experience to learn and progress. And then you'll find out if Jacob Eason is up to the task or not. It's just as helpful for Wentz and for Eason as each other. It works perfectly. That's why it would be perfect to just allow Jacob Eason to be that backup now.
Yep.
You're just like, yeah, you're not the starter yet. We don't want you to do that, but we want you to continue to develop. And while you're doing that, you get a chance to maybe play a little bit with some of that preseason action, or maybe in a game or so where the game is out of reach and Jacob Eason comes in for like a drive, kind of gets a throw or two in here and there. That kind of stuff really helps for somebody that's trying to get to where they want to be. And I think that's where Ballard wants them to go.
Yeah.
I hope that's what they do.
Yeah. And to add on to that, we don't know what Jacob Eason's ceiling is. We have no idea. He's like a mold of clay right now, and he could turn into whatever. But also Jacoby Brissett, what he is, right? Yes. We know what Jacoby Brissett is, right? He's pushing closer to 30 now. He's in his late 20s now. And so it's like, why would you roll with him when you kind of already know he's a safe option, but he's nothing spectacular? Jacob Eason, no, this is a very preliminary right now. Mm-hmm. But saying that, what if Jacob Eason turns into a star? I don't, and the Jacob Eason fans are going to love this, me saying that.
Jacoby Brissett fans are going to hate us.
But we don't know. We don't know with him, and we know with Jacoby Brissett. And he's not your starter, he's your backup. So right now, that is a big reason why, I probably wouldn't bring him back. That's my third point there. But Derek, unless you have anything else, I think that wraps it up, our conversation on Jacoby Brissett. Yep. I think it's a little bit more cut and dry for us on the positives versus the negatives a little bit. On the Marlon Mack one, we had a lot of different points that build off each other. But for this one, I think, it's pretty much Colts Nation's kind of we're kind of on the same page. I mean, there may be a few people that want Jacoby Brissett brought back, but I think.
And if you're one of those people that wants Jacoby Brissett to start, please stop.
Yeah. No, we're not there. He's not starting.
There.
He's not starting. No. We just, we saw what the Colts did. So
he can start with another team. Go right ahead, bro. I wish the best for him, but that for Indianapolis, not.
Right. Yeah. So, for Marlon Mack, we're split, but I think for Jacoby Brissett, a good chunk of Colts Nation understands the reasons why you wouldn't bring him back. and we're kind of on that same page. But I'm curious, are there people who want Jacoby Brissett brought back for a year or two? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. I know Derek would as well. Let us know in the comments below. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Thanks for tuning in so much as we continue to look at the Colts impending free agents here. That'll do it for this one, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, go Colts.